enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love crew.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
So good in a party yet. You know why?
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. And together we will travel the world.
From 98.1 to CBC TV8 comes the Soca Avenue, the sweetest soca hour in radio. It's artists with new tunes and some old sweet ones too, jamming on the Soca Avenue. Saturday.
Wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Good morning to you on this Monday, July 15th. Great to have you with us for another Morning Barbados presentation. I'm Tisha Hines, and I'll be in studio with you until just around 8 o'clock or so this morning. So thanks to all of you who are tuned in and ready for the ride. A special good morning to the little ones. I'm sure many of them are not up. It's the summer holiday after all. And a special good morning to teachers as well. Remember, you can reach us at morninbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G, only because Bajans don't say morning, say morning. That's how we do it. So that's how you can reach us, or you can find us online on social media platforms all over the place, so wherever you are. I know you went out in your thousands to be a part of Pandemonium last night. I passed through and I saw that you had a good time, and it all ended with some showers of blessings. Not too many, but we absolutely got some showers at the end there. But people were able to get out, and by around just after 10 o'clock or so, the road was nice and clear and flowing, so nothing much to worry about. And you also went out to the Pan Yard Lime over the weekend on Friday at UE, and all the other activities that have been happening. I know that there's been lots happening around the fringes as well. Now, speaking of music, my first guest this morning is no stranger to music. He's a music producer, musician, a tutor, a songwriter, and he's been here before. We were trying to jog our memories to figure out exactly when, but we're not sure. But it's wonderful to have Brad Griffith back with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Tisha. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Good, I'm good. And I'm happy to be here too as well.
Good stuff. It's good to have you at this time of year.
Yes.
Especially when we focus so heavily on music and everything else around it on the island. So tell me how you got into music in the way that you love it, the way you do.
Okay, so first of all, I'm actually a music producer, also musician, songwriter, and tutor as well. I grew up in Churchville, St. Philip, with an upbringing of a beautiful mother, grandmother, and also uncles whose strictness probably would rival any military operation out there. But yes, and that slowly then went into the Christian church. So most of my upbringing with music and theater happened or was nurtured somewhat within the walls of the Christian church.
All right, and you know, was there any specific type of music that kind of caught your attention, or musicians out there that, you know, interested you more than others?
Oh yes, we used to, well, gospel was the main thing at that time, but R&B, funk, jazz, especially the early R&B, the 90s and 80s R&B, that was my favorite type of music at that time. But anything from Aretha Franklin, Billy Eckstine, Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, most of those records were early records that I used to hear in my house at that time.
Now, you said that you loved the music that your grandmother played, and you spoke initially about the influence of family. So let me hear about that music that your grandmother played and how it influenced you.
So that was mainly Joseph Nels. So Joseph Nels was always in the house, Johnny My Boy, John King. We used to have a lot of the older type of gospel, so we had a lot of the mass choirs, like Chicago Mass Choir, and most of the late great type of gospel scenarios, but it was always gospel first and then everything else afterwards, because she used to go around the house humming, and sometimes I just used to play, you know, my piano behind her too as well.
Yeah, but at that time you probably didn't realize the influence, the impact she was having on you through the music she was playing.
No, absolutely not, because the thing is that it also directed me to understand melody and understand harmony, because she would sing and I would sometimes formulate some type of harmony behind it, and it was actually exciting. And also with the church of itself, we had choirs that, you know, you had to still yet showcase your talents. So you used to showcase your talents at Christmas time, showcase your talents for the harvest. You know, these things then help to build my musical interest somewhat.
It's true. It really gives a platform for young musicians, performance, even through the recitations, for children to gain confidence within the church. Now you moved to a place where you have started your own studios. So let's talk about that move. To be able to start your own studio must have been a real blessing.
Oh yes, DMP Recordings is absolutely, I can't go wrong when I say that that is the space where I find a lot of my inspiration and get just a lot of good vibes from, because it is a powerhouse for creativity and innovation. I don't ever like to say that, you know, it's just a house with recording equipment or gear in it. It is basically my creative sanctuary, and sanctuary means that, you know, it covers a wide, diverse range from the music and visual artistry. So whether you are, you know, an artist that is very well seasoned, looking to have that perfect sound, whether you are a brand or business or advertising agency looking, you know, to have that sonic or visual identity, even if you're a young person just looking to find your way through the music industry, or, you know, looking for someone to have some type of mentorship with, I'm that person. So I just, in working through DMP Recordings, I basically want to bring your visions to life. So it's just bringing your concepts to a type of reality. So that is what basically DMP Recordings is.
Now, I know in areas such as recording and sound technology, technology has really taken off, I dare say, in the last 20 years in an amazing way. It really has changed how we do things. Even editing. It was a major thing, how we recorded, how we edited. How did technology and the major changes impact the way that you kind of treat to the people whom you work with and the type of studio that you've been able to build?
Yes, well, technology is a huge, is a major thing in the studio, because we have a system where, you know, sometimes you need vocals to be edited very quickly. You need software for that type of scenario. There's also software that would also enhance your room, enhance the song that you're trying to represent. But most of the technology that I use is computer-based and keyboard-based. So along with, you know, that combination, I'm able to still yet design things and build things that are still yet inspiring soundscapes. I have a number of ways in which I build songs and design songs through the technology, through the computer, and those types of mechanisms.
Now, you said you started in the church.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Granny was happy with that.
Yeah.
Mommy was happy with that. The uncles who could rival any military base, as you mentioned, I'm sure they were happy with that. But at some point in time, you had an opportunity to venture out and perform kind of on the scene. So, you know, taking you back and aging you a little bit. You know, you said you performed at places like Almond Beach Village, and you know, that's a little while ago. So, you know, how did the family feel about you venturing out away from the church doors and performing on the scene?
Well, they were very supportive because, you know, Granny always said, you know, you can't be a one-hole button. And they always, you can't be a one-hole button. You can't be a one-hole button. She always told me that.
I have never heard that. Hold on. That has to sink in.
Yep.
Granny always said you can't be a one-hole button. This Abidjan's never cease to amaze me.
Correct.
Continue there, sir.
So she literally, they always encouraged diverse ways of things and making sure you have different interests and avenues. So whether it was sports, whether it was music, you always had to, you know, be a part of something else. So the church, yes, was the root and foundation of my music, but it literally leaked into other things because my love for music did not only stem from the church, it also stemmed from, you know, the early set of R&B and music that I was, you know, taking in at a very young age. And I literally wanted to explore. And they were willing to say, okay, well, Brad, if this is the avenue you want to explore, you still have to go to church. You still yet have to be a part of our Christian, you know, programs and stuff like that. Because I used to also play the piano in church. But if you want to go out and venture off and work, we are open to that scenario as well.
It wasn't lost on me that you said that you love genres like funk.
Yes.
What part did that play when it came time to kind of selecting your set for the scene?
Okay, well, two groups. There was Parliament Funkadelic and Earth, Wind and Fire. And anything from those two groups, I just loved. So that literally built, well, funk and R&B, literally just built this huge love for anything that had energy. So like how, you know, people love soca. Yes, I do love soca. I do love reggae. But there was a part of me, especially too, I had to play stuff that would still yet be in keeping with something that my parents would actually want me to be a part of. So I had to take things in, you know, steps. Like I couldn't at an early stage be playing dub or, you know, coming from a gospel church, coming from a gospel household. So it was a matter of just taking baby steps for them to understand, well, okay, this is something that it can be wholesome and still yet I can be a part of it. But I still yet loved all the other genres that existed.
And then you had an opportunity that presented itself for you to be able to travel and play your music. I want to hear about how that came about and share your experiences over the years working on cruise ships. On cruise ships.
Okay, well, there are 4 beautiful gentlemen, Wayne Daisley, Joel Thomas, Lance Howell too as well, Tony Yaw. I started off, when I left Barbados, that was my family. Because I knew nothing, absolutely. The only thing I knew was the little R&B that I had and the gospel music. And this is where I was then exposed to country and western, top 40 music that, you know, came from early times of you have the Elvises, you have the rock around the clock. So most of these songs were being introduced, but there were ways in which these songs were played. Because as as seasoned musicians, as the seasoned musicians they were, you still yet couldn't experiment on stage. They were extremely disciplined, and they believed in practice. So everything had to be rehearsed before we got on stage. So they were practically my musical family. I learned soca, how to really and truthfully perform soca, how to perform reggae properly, the strums, how to deal with certain types of scenarios in bands. You know, it was literally my shaping, that shaped me as a musician going on those cruise ships, because I started at the age of, I think, 18, 19, as soon as I left college.
What are some of the most memorable things about those years?
Wow. Literally, I think those years brought about a sense of understanding culture. And there were people that literally wanted my friendship because of where I was from. And at that time, that early time, we did not have the description of, oh, I'm from that country where Rihanna, you know, was born. Sometimes people would say, well, where is Barbados? And I would have to sit down and tell them, well, okay, well, how did you learn music? Your accent, like where did you, why you say what? Why you say, so there were certain things that, and we built friendships over the years, even people to this day that I still do contact, just based on being from Barbados, nothing to do with music, just my speech alone, they were intrigued by that. So that definitely, those things, they resonate with me to this day.
How were you able to navigate that space and time as such a young man being away from home? That's where you started. You said that really meant a great deal to you, and that was a big part of who you are. That shaped you in a large manner. So to move away from home at such a young age, I know you said that these four gentlemen became your de facto family.
Yes.
But I know you would have missed home as well.
Oh yes, but you see, I was very adventurous. I think it was a little too adventurous. And coming from Church Village and having all of these, you know, you have these role models and uncles, and you have different things you're pulling from. I was very much intricately layered as a brother, basically coming from Barbados. So when I had that opportunity, I was like, okay, I'm going to take it, because I wanted to know more about music. I wanted to know a bit more about how things work on the international market and in the international sector. So that was my main focus, because music literally placed a spirit and a deep sense of introspection when it came for me to, you know, take myself away from the island and my family. And my family always were supportive. I would always call home, even though it would not be every day. But, you know, my mom used to say something, you know, if you hear from Brad, you know, it's something bad, or he may be in some type of trouble. So, you know, family always still supported my decisions.
Yeah, but phone calls were a lot different, I would imagine.
Oh, yes.
Because obviously now everybody has a cell phone, you can make a WhatsApp call or what have you. But back then you had to find yourself.
Yeah, a satellite call. And that satellite call would have been an expensive call. And so, you know, those calls happened once every 2-3 months, they would hear from me. Unless I'm in a port, and then I have to run to some payphone and be like, hi, Mom, you know, everything is okay. Hi, Gran, everything is okay. Okay, bye. Because you still have a timer. So you had to go through all these processes before the actual cell phone.
In addition to bringing Barbados to the world, you also went to the world.
Yes.
What are some of the interesting places you got to see and interesting things that helped to shape who you are today as a producer, songwriter, musician generally?
Yes, Alaska was one of those places, and seeing the Northern Lights. And I remember the first time I saw the Northern Lights, I literally went into my cabin and started to write music, because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Even from the people that were exposed to that type of environment, it all just placed a lot of things in perspective, because I did not ever think that this would be a space I'll be in, or a space that I'll be able to experience at such a young age. So those things, that was the type of thing that was going through my mind at that time. And I was still excited to meet people, excited to understand their traditions, especially how they fish sometimes, how they prepare for the cold and the winter, those types of things, because understanding them was more yet understanding myself at that time as a musician.
Now I know that you've been able to exploit your talents and your works in ways that maybe many musicians from this part of the world haven't been able to, in writing music for, say, use in other forms of media.
Yeah.
So how were you able to kind of make that connection?
Okay, well, the musicians that I've had around me have been extremely warm and extremely supportive. And, like those gentlemen that I've called, they came from various backgrounds. I remember to one of the gentlemen, the bass player, he was 7 Days Adventist. And even though we came from different backgrounds, the primary objective was just to get that job done. But get that job done as a team. So if Brad knows how to do something, we're going to take that space from him. If Wayne knows how to do something, we'll take a space from him. If Joel knows something, and we always work together as a team. Everything was basically teamwork. So the knowledge and the actual type of musicianship did not just have to come from one source, but multiple sources. And that literally took us through 10, 15 years working together easily and effortlessly, sorry.
Well, you've now been able to compose music for Amazon and series.
Yes.
Boast a little bit about that for us, because that in and of itself is a major feat.
Yes.
I know in the past we've had occasion to sit in on seminars with people coming here and talking to our musicians, talking to our entertainers about being able to license their music and really making money through intellectual property, which is where the real money is. So how have you been able to make that connection?
Well, that is honestly that connection. I have to thank Camille Bradshaw, and she is the person responsible for that, and another guy called Reginald, because Reginald introduced me to Camille. And with that being said, I just love to poke and poke until I get a replay. So these directors, and some of them are dealing with things, dealing with serious issues, or dealing with serious types of series or movies. And I would send an email, and if I don't get a response within a week, I send another, and I send another, until I literally get, okay, Brad, how can we help? How can we assist? And then, I would just, start to. So most of these directors and producers are very supportive, but Camille Bradshaw was the person that started, to give me that license to further my career into the film and TV prospect.
Now, what are some of the things that your studio engages in outside of you, making products or creating music for series and companies outside of Barbados and so on? Are you doing some of the commercial things? Are some of the music, some of the songs that we're hearing on the airwaves coming out of the MP studios?
Oh yeah, so some of I do a lot of vocal work. So a lot of the recordings we have, like Father Fox, Summer, I've worked with Mahalia, Rochelle Griffith, a lot of different people that I've worked with. It started off with just vocals, editing vocals and recording vocals. My primary focus, first thing I wanted to do was create music, have people, but it felt very good to have these connections, because then too I learned what these artists like. So then I can build scenarios that support their vision too as well. But definitely the majority of work, especially the crop over work, has been vocal recording.
Yeah, so now you're here and you're back. Any move to maybe put some music out there yourself? What's your sweet spot in terms of where you are and where you've come from performing early on the gospel and R&B and then learning soca and reggae and so on? Do you have a favorite genre now, or can you still appreciate across the board?
Oh yes, I can appreciate every genre of music, but I love pop. And pop is the thing that I'm interested in because I can take, elements from the Caribbean. I can take elements from the North American market, even from the Asian market. And these things help to still yet further the message because it's still yet all about a message. And there are certain things that do resonate with me as a musician and as a producer that I still want to implement within the music just to get to a broader audience, So I'm literally into now fusing Afro beats with Caribbean vibes, Afro beats with pop vibes. It's very much Afro-based music at this stage.
How do you stay on trend? How do you stay kind of up to the times, ahead of the curve when it comes to the music and how things have changed through the years?
Right. Well, one of my approach, I tend to just pay attention to what is being the news, especially with when you turn on television. Sometimes you turn on the TV and there are things that literally just strike you. You take a pause. You turn on the radio, something just strikes you, be like, okay, well, I need to write about this. And there are people that have similar messages, but also have similar types of music that has been created around a message like that. And there are also two mentors and people that I listen to on a daily basis that I just gain inspiration from. So all of it comes from a positive type of inspiration, and that can be from the Caribbean, it can be from Sean Paul, it can be from Rupi, it could be from Alison Hines, it could be from any one of these artists, because these are people that I look up to, especially Chris Allman. I've worked with him for a very short period of time, but I hope at some point I get to work with him again, in the future.
That's beautiful. What are you listening to, though? What's playing when you're driving around, or maybe outside of your work in the studio if you're not working with artists? Are you listening only to pop, or are you kind of at crop over time listening to some of the music as you work with some of the artists and things like that?
Yes, so a lot of the music I listen to is a lot of pop. Any of the artists that I do listen to that, like our local artists, I love soca, yes. I love reggae, yes. But there are things and elements that I try to reach so that it can inspire and instigate something new and something fresh. I just don't want to be doing the same thing over and over and over again, or doing something that already has been done. That's not my case. I want to actually get artists that want to tread new waters. They want to seek a new type of scenario. They want to gain from a space of inspiration, but inspiration that will create a beautiful message in the end. And, anything that I listen to now, especially coming from the cruise ships, yes, it is jazz. I love jazz. I do love the North American market of music, but anything pop, I consider to,
Good stuff. How long were you working on the cruise ships?
For about 15 years, roughly for 15 years, yeah.
All right, what was the transition like coming back home after working on cruise ships for such a long time? Because that's a very structured way of living for those people who know how it works. I mean, you're in your cabin pretty much. There are many days you're on the water, or if you're in port, and you kind of work. You come back home when you're out of season. So it's very, very structured.
Yes, it is very structured. But the thing is that every port that I got out to get, I usually would get off the cruise ship when we port and just go and see things. And you've seen so many things at this stage throughout those 15 years that it will cause for you sometimes to just sit back and reflect. So when I'm at home, literally, even in the studio, it's a bunch of reflection going on, and reflect to a degree where, it may instigate you to go in a different direction, even with my personal life. And those things that resonate with me still yet, I do write on a daily basis. I still yet record on a daily basis. So that transition, now I'm literally pulling from all of these things that I've experienced throughout those years, all of the people that I've met, all the scenarios that I've been a part of, all the interactions, these things still yet make up my present day music as a producer.
Was it difficult to transition back home after living away for such a long time?
No, it wasn't.
I'm sure mother was excited.
Yes, my grandmother, actually, fun fact, and this is the gospel truth. I was ending a contract and my grandmother was ill in hospital and she passed away as soon as I got home.
Oh dear.
So it was a space where I was like, I can't let that happen with, any other family member of mine, so I've been very, very careful with the way in which I set contracts, how I do business overseas, just to make sure things are okay at home with my mom too as well, because she's a big part of my life.
Yeah,
Yes.
and are there any artists that you're hoping to work with, any music genre that you've not embarked upon as yet, that you'd like
yes.
to, at least try?
Yes. Of course, I would love to work with, on the international market, Hans Zimmer, John Williams. These are people that, if you know of the movie June 2, Star Trek, Star Wars, they do a lot of film and TV work. I would love to work with them. On the local market, I would honestly love to do something with Mighty Gabby, with his cultural influence, with the heritage behind what he stands for, because a lot of his music I love, especially from a melodic standpoint. I would love to just do something, but something that is geared towards the cinematic side of things, where we can get together and just formulate a structure based on these things and come up with some tracks that we can then give to the international market.
How is creating that type of music different from creating music, for people to dance to enjoy?
Right.
Yeah.
You have to tell a story. And that story has to still yet come from a very honest place. It has to come from a space. Sometimes when you're writing sometimes to just a blank canvas. Or sometimes they will just send you the video and you have to write to that. But it has to come from a very honest space, because the music has, some of it does not have, you don't have a singer, you don't have any lyrics, but the music and the songscapes have to speak and give a message. And so I love that type of music.
All right, Brad Griffith, I want to thank you so much for coming in and sharing with us today.
Thank you.
We love to feature Barbadians who are doing fantastic work in all areas.
Thank you.
And you so qualify. Music producer, musician, tutor, songwriter, just a multifaceted, dynamic talent that really started here in Barbados and grew outside of Barbados, but now you're back home and sharing all you've learned as you continue on your musical journey. So congratulations.
Thank you so very much, Tisha. It's a pleasure being here and also an honor. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. So listen out for Brad. And if you can think of a few movies that are coming up where you need some music, you know where to go. DMP Studios, that is where you need to check them. You can find him online. Instagram is DMP Beatbox. That's where you'll find him.
Yes, and also you can also contact my manager, Lisa Matthews, at dmp@gmail.com.
All right, good stuff. It's time for a break here on Morning Barbados. The time is moving quickly. It's 6:34. Coming up next, a whole lot more. Stay with me. From 98.1 to CBC TV8 comes the Soca Avenue, the sweetest soca hour in radio. It's artists with new tunes and some old sweet ones too, jamming on the Soca Avenue. Saturdays, join AON Skills and the crew down on Soca Avenue. All new on CBC TV8. Feeling the festival.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
My friend, you don't plan to get it? Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it, Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays right here and only here on 94.7.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
Welcome to the Crop Over Sweet Spot, your go-to show for all things Crop Over 2024. We'll dive into the big issues of the day with exclusive interviews with the entertainers, the experts, the movers and shakers of the festival, plus you, the audience. Get to join the conversation and share your views. Tune in to CBC TV 8 every Friday night for the ultimate Crop Over experience with yours truly, the Admiral. We're big on everything Crop Over 2024. The Crop Over Sweet Spot, brought to you with a kind compliments of Axel Finance.
Tune in every Friday at 6 p.m. to see me, Chrissy D, on Fashion Flair on CBC TV 8. I'll be bringing you the latest fashion trends, fashion ends, and everything in between. Get ready to transform your style, get inspired, and elevate your fashion game with the ultimate guide to looking fabulous. Join me, Chrissy D, this Friday on CBC TV 8.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's 6:37 on a, is it rainy? Not quite. It's kind of like drizzles outside. You know how that works. But even with drizzles, Bajans are like, oh, I don't know if I can go to work. It's raining and all of that wonderful stuff. I certainly hope you're still getting out though, because by the time the sun peeks out, you know, you're going to regret that you stayed in. If you did, if you have all rights to stay in, like it's vacation or something for you, well, more power to you. I know a lot of people take time off when the children are off on holiday, at least the initial days. We're also going to tell you a little bit later about all the places that you can sign the children up. I know lots of forms went home for the summer camp programs at the schools, but there's also still the sports program through the National Sports Council, and there are lots of others that you can get to. Now, we want to double back to something that we spoke about extensively, and we had a lot of people who came in to talk about the partnership between the Barbados Community College and Delaware State University. They were with us at the time that we were over at Standard, and even after we came back here to the studios in the Pine, and they shared a lot about the agricultural program that is ongoing. So joining us this morning to talk about the intake of the second cohort of students to that program, we have Mark Griffith, who is course manager with the Barbados Community College under the Delaware State University Partnership Program. So good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good to have you here. And he's brought along Karaya Scantlebury, and she's a student of agricultural science with the Delaware State University. And I see you came out bedecked in your shirt as well, representing.
Yes, please.
So good morning. Good to have you with us. And I'm going to start with you, Karaya, because we started a brief discussion just before we came on air, where I asked you, what kind of piqued your interest in agricultural science? Because we keep hearing that there are not as many young people interested in agricultural science as we would like here in Barbados. But here you are, proclaiming yourself as a fourth generation farmer. So talk to me a little bit about the background and how you came to sign up for this program.
Well, initially I was doing my associate degree at BCC,
And when the opportunity presented itself, I took the opportunity to sign up to do my degree. Because it was something I always wanted to do, but because the subject is not done in Barbados, you have to go to Trinidad or to another country like Canada or America or even England to do the subject.
Outside of the program itself being available, are there any specific things about the program that grab your interest?
Well, because I love agriculture, I saw it as a way that I can stay at home and still be able to do my degree. Yeah.
Wonderful stuff. Mr. Griffith, talk to me about what the last year has been like. We're now celebrating the first cohort, moving into second year and preparing for a new intake, I would imagine in September, as
August,
we move
September.
into the second cohort. What has year one been like working alongside Delaware State University officials?
It has been very interesting. It's been a learning experience as well. I was able to incorporate the knowledge because I'm also a tutor at the Barbados Community College. So I was able to incorporate the skills that I had learned and acquired over the years into a new program which was delivered in a different format. The lecturers or instructors are based in Delaware. The students are here in Barbados on the Barbados Community College compound. And they are doing the same courses that the students who are at Delaware State University are doing. But we are here monitoring them, working with them, evaluating them, keeping them on course. And they're going to get the same degree as if they had been physically at the Delaware State University.
How has that been different for you? Because you said it was a little different being delivered in a hybrid type of way. I would imagine that, it's totally different. If we look at it, you're preparing to take in another 60 students to study for a bachelor's degree in mathematics or agriculture. And that, of course, is beginning soon. So, we're going to talk a little bit about that too. But how different has it been kind of just supervising, really, for the students to take in the studies in this hybrid format?
Okay. First, the students are learning material which is delivered in an online format, as you said. And they will do a lot of reading. But unlike the situation in Barbados, where if they were at, say, BCC or University of the West Indies, the lecturers are not normally there physically. So the students are actually doing online, but with the online, they are in a position where some of them are pretty young and they may not be fully ready for that kind of format. So we work with them and we help to bridge the gap. We are there as stand-ins for the persons who are not physically there. And they see us to some extent as being mentors, but also as in a form like their instructors as well. So we work with them, we talk with them, and we try to get them accustomed to the fact that the system of learning they're engaging in is a bit different to what they may have been experiencing in Barbados. The courses require constant work. They have to do assignments on a weekly basis which are evaluated. So it's more like a continuous evaluation. There are final exams, but they must be working from the beginning because the marks are being accumulated and the final exam is not necessarily worth half or even most of the marks. They must do well. They must work with all of the assignments. And so long as they work steadily, make sure they do not, say, well, I'm going to wait to the last moment and then I'm going to try to do all the work at the end, cramming as, we may be accustomed to. So as they don't try to do that, it goes well for them.
Good
they
stuff.
do quite well.
Well, we have somebody here who can speak to it on a first-hand basis. Kiraya, tell me about the program itself and some of the modules that you've enjoyed throughout the last year, maybe some that you have to work a little harder at based on the way that they're presented.
Well, so far we have done things like psychology and Spanish. And initially we can understand how psychology applies to agriculture. But as we got into the course, as Mark said, Mr. Griffith said, it's a lot of reading. So, because it's an accelerated course, you have to stay on top of the work. So, the psychology was one of the more, I won't say challenging, but because of the amount of reading that it encompassed, it took a lot of dedication. Yeah.
All right, but here you are past, phase one, and they brought you out to talk about it. So I think that means that you did pretty well. We won't comment on that any further yet. But as we look toward cohort 2, talk to me about who can apply. You mentioned that some of the students are quite young, but who fits the bill to be able to apply to do these programs? Persons
who have a genuine interest in acquiring a degree. The areas which will be available for this cohort will be mathematics and agricultural science. So it's mainly agricultural science, but those who are interested in mathematics can also apply. They can be students who are just coming out of fifth form at secondary. They could be students who have already gained associate degrees, but even if they are coming from fifth form, they will be submitting their profiles because CHC results are not back as yet. So they can still apply at this point in time, even though their results are not back. And their profiles, their secondary school profiles, will be very useful. And on that score, I want to mention that there will be an open house tomorrow, Tuesday, at 5 p.m. at the BCC campus. So persons who are interested in learning more about this program can come to that open house to get information which they may need to have.
So the application process is still open?
It is still very much open. Persons can still apply.
And I know that representatives from Delaware State University come ever so often. I'm told that they're going to be here to be able to share with the students during this open session.
Yes. Actually, one of them, Dr. Jeffries, is already on the island. Dr. Boyle had a bit of flight difficulties, but he should probably be coming sometime during today. So they will be here. The Delaware State University personnel will be here. Also, Mrs. White will be here from Delaware State University to speak with the students. So they're going to be, well informed. Persons who are very knowledgeable will be there to speak to them.
Good stuff. Karaya, what are you looking forward to most with pursuing this particular area of study?
Well, I hope it can put me closer to my goal of becoming a plant pathologist.
Plant pathologist?
Yes, please.
Good stuff. And it's wonderful to hear that you have students who can apply across the board, offering a degree in mathematics or agricultural science. And, all they have to do is to come out. It's tomorrow, what time again?
5 p.m. at the BCC campus.
5 p.m., come out to BCC campus, and you can find out more about how you can be a student at the Delaware State University without even leaving Barbados, taking the same courses that students there are taking as we continue this partnership with the Barbados Community College and DSU. So congratulations on completing year 1, Kiraya, and I look forward to hearing about your success.
Thank you very much.
For the rest of the program, and to you and your colleagues as well, Mark.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us on your program.
All right, it's time for another break here on Morning Barbados. It's a fantastic Monday, so don't you go anywhere.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Tune in every Friday at 6 p.m. to see me, Chrissy D, on Fashion Flair on CBC TV8. I'll be bringing you the latest fashion trends, fashion ends, and everything in between. Get ready to transform your style, get inspired, and elevate your fashion game with the ultimate guide to looking fabulous. Join me, Chrissy D, this Friday on CBC TV8 at 6 p.m. for an exciting episode of Fashion Flair.
The ultimate cricket showdown is coming to ESPN, and MCTV has got you covered. The ICC Cricket World Cup 2024 is here on ESPN and MCTV. Tune into MCTV channels 302 and 308, and don't miss a single six. Wicket are heart-pounding moments as top teams vie for the 2024 T20 World Cup. From June 1st to 29th, it's cricket you can't afford to miss. Tune into ESPN on MCTV, and for live radio coverage, tune into 94.7. Catch every moment of the ICC Cricket World Cup T20 action.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love crew.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
You know why?
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiencing
Morning. Good morning to you.
8 minutes to 7 o'clock. Now we're going to be talking a little bit about the Barbados Marine Spatial Plan, which is a strategic and comprehensive framework that's designed to manage and sustainably use the country's marine and coastal resources. So we're going to be talking about a few components of it and what it means to us generally. Dr. Leo Brewster is director of the Coastal Zone Management Unit, and he joins us now online to share a little bit more. Good morning and welcome.
Morning, Tisha. Morning, Barbados.
Good to have you with us. We would have preferred to have you in studio. I understand that you're joining us by technology, so that's okay.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, so talk to us more about the Barbados Marine Spatial Plan and why it's necessary to have something like this, a plan like this, at this time.
Okay, thanks, Tisha. We are at the stage in Barbados where it's important for us to get a real appreciation for our ocean space and the ability for us to practice good ocean governance and mechanisms by which people who use the ocean space can understand not only its importance, the resources that are there, but how the space can be shared equitably by all. Now, when we think of ocean space, we're really looking at the horizon and not just the near shore where everybody knows where everything takes place. So we know of water sports, we know of swim areas, we know of fishing in the near shore and pot fishing and seinet fishing. We know of activities like coastal cruising and tourism generally and beach chairs. So you're looking now from the near shore out into the big blue. So Barbados has been tasked through the Coastal Zone Management Unit to come up with a marine spatial plan for the exclusive economic zone of Barbados, which means that this has to go out 200 nautical miles out to our exclusive or EEZ boundary, right? It is important that we appreciate that when we get past a certain point, there may be certain things that take over the space in effectiveness, and that includes things like obviously fishing in a significant way when the fellas are out doing their tuna fishing, their long lining, the flying fish fishing, etc. But then we also have to look towards the future where we continually hear of the opportunities for offshore oil and gas because we have some potentially significant reserves located in the deep. We also have to look at the means by which marine traffic use our space. We have to look also at activities that could lead to better management, surveillance, and security and enforcement of our economic zone from activities such as illegal, unregulated, and unreported fishing. We also have to look at new opportunities where marine renewable energy can come to prominence and help try to reduce our present electricity budget, etc. Because we still have to try and become neutral in terms of our carbon use by the specified deadline of 2030 or 2035. We also have to look at new potential opportunities in deep sea fishing, opportunities in exploitation of marine resources such as polymetallic nodules, which may be found on our seafloor or they may not be found. So there are new opportunities for marine research.
So
It's
talk to
important
me
for
about
people
this.
to understand
Talk to me about the
it's a lot.
stakeholders who've been involved in pulling this plan together, because what you're sharing with us is very extensive. So I've
It
heard
is.
you go through, everything talking about sustainable resource management and kind of offshore exploration and everything else in between. Who are some of the stakeholders who have been involved in developing this plan, and how will their various roles tie into this plan, the implementation of this plan generally over time?
Let's step back a bit. We are still very far away from the finalization of a plan. So don't think that this is easy work. This is very difficult work, as you rightfully pointed out. We've identified just about all the stakeholder players that we can identify on island who have a shared stake in all activities that are marine. We've set up a stakeholder advisory committee, which we have been trying to galvanize into action. I think one of the problems, we have two problems that we face in that. The key players obviously are actively involved in their private business during the day. So we now have to look to schedule meetings to be more effective during the evening session. And we have to try and also demonstrate to them that they have a significant role to play. Because if they don't take part, they may feel that they were left out and unconsulted. But as organizations within themselves, they have representatives that sit on this committee, and those persons are supposed to take back the message to their membership. If their membership isn't hearing, then it means that those persons on the committee aren't functioning. After that, we also have what we call a geospatial committee, and that geospatial committee is drawn from members of the Coastal Zone Management Unit, the Nature Conservancy, the University of the West Indies, and some private consultants that we have on, who are working to try to gather a lot of the marine information and represent it in a geographic information system, which in essence is a computer management program that allows you to visualize what the information is that we have right now. And we're at the stage where we're getting ready to go out to the public through the same stakeholder process to ask stakeholders to participate by providing information that they think of relevance and significance that will help us better understand what their role is, where they function, what the issues are that they're facing, and how they think these matters can be better developed, managed, and controlled sustainably, also recognizing that you have to share the space. And then we have an excellent communications and outreach team that is actually generating all of our social media information. So we have a website, we have social media pages, we have driven activities to ensure that the public and other persons can get an appreciation as to what we're trying to do and the messages we're trying to send out. We also have then a strong environmental education team that has a specific focus on ocean literacy and marine education. So we've been out to 20 primary schools right now over the last about 8 weeks. We've also been having lectures and interactive sessions with higher level institutions. We've worked on a program between the MSP, the ILO, and community college to work in developing a program for beach managers at the National Conservation Commission, which is about to roll out later this month or by early August. So we're doing a lot of things at different levels. We've worked with Atlantis Submarine with the same primary schools. We've also been to some secondary schools like St. Leonard's Boys and one or two others as well to assist in engendering a greater understanding of the marine space. And, you know, when you package all this activity, we've only been in operation for a year. So it seems like, you know, there's a hive of activity going on. We attend a lot of public activities as well. So we went to AgroFest, we've been to Oyston's Fish Festival, and we've been doing some crop-over rollouts. We've also had some ads on some big screens. So during the Cricket World Cup, we actually had ads running on Kensington Mall's big screen about the MSP and getting involved. We've also rolled out a public perception survey, which I would really like Barbadians to go onto the MSP website, barbadosmsp.com, and fill out the survey, because we're trying to get the general feel from the public about how they use the ocean space and what they think their concerns are, so that we can get a better feedback in terms of where we need to start from.
All right, Dr. Brewster, you said a great deal. There certainly is a lot for members of the public to be able to take in, and it's good to hear that you're coming to the public to get their feedback. What part will this play in helping to design and implement this plan? I know generally a lot of people are concerned that, you know, there are a lot of policies or plans that are made, but the public don't necessarily get a part to play in that they're not able to share in a way that they see it as a part of that plan and the implementation. So how does this new marine spatial plan align with maybe existing coastal management policies and generally the direction that Barbados goes when we think of our marine space, which generally surrounds our tourist industry and our fishing industry and leisure a lot of the times, even more so than the other things that you would have outlined?
Well, the plan itself is going to come up as a natural progression on the recently concluded Integrated Coastal Zone Management Policy and Plan, because we have to look further offshore than where we would normally operate. I think that Barbados has also been working to develop a national ocean policy, which is to focus on how the ocean governance mechanisms for Barbados can fit into the Blue Economy Roadmap and Strategic Action Plan. It also helps us to better understand and appreciate the role of the public. Our motto for the MSP is by Barbadians for Barbadians. So we're trying to provide every avenue of opportunity for Barbadians to take part in this process and provide feedback. Okay, we have a very tight schedule because we have 3 years in which to come up with a draft scenario plan, and that is due next year. As I said, we started last year on a very tight schedule, and then we have another 2 years after that to come up with the finalized plan. So it is very concise and condensed in terms of what we're doing, but we have to maximize public participation in this process, both at the stakeholder level and at the individual level. The only thing I can say is that, you know, as with most things, some people may think that they haven't been consulted, but we're trying to provide every avenue in this process to ensure that that consultation can arise. I must say that we wouldn't have been able to get where we are without the support of the Inter-American Development Bank, the Nature Conservancy, TNC, for their assistance in this process, as well as the University of the West Indies. Those 3 entities are the key foundation members, as well as the Barbados government, in terms of how this process rolls out. And it is something that, you know, we have kept to the forefront, that the public have to be aware. But, you know, as with most things, because we are right now in the heart of crop over, our message may be being lost slightly. But we are coming, and by the time this month comes to an end and all the jumping up is over, you'll be seeing the MSP just about everywhere.
All right. Well, that says a great deal too, because if you come to the public at a place where there are timelines in place already, even if there's a widespread consultation, then you could see. But we look forward to hearing a lot more about this Barbados Marine Spatial Plan. It certainly sounds like, fantastic prospects for Barbados moving forward. And we look forward to maybe being, that place where you can come to help share the information as well, to engage in conversation, to get Barbadians on board, and certainly to share a lot more. Dr. Leo Brewster, thank you for sharing with us this morning, Director of the Coastal Zone Management Unit.
Thanks for having me, Tisha.
Absolutely. Okay, time for a break here on Morning Barbados. Make sure you look into the plan and find out a little bit more. Get online. We're going to share exactly how you can a little later on the program as well. Stay with us. Time is moving on.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb, and together we will travel the world.
From 98.1 to CBC TV8 comes the Soca Avenue, the sweetest soca hour in radio. It's artists with new tunes and some old sweet ones too, jamming on the Soca Avenue. Saturdays, join AON Skills and the crew down on Soca Avenue. All new.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
7 minutes after 7 o'clock, time for an update of the news. The Ministry of Education is expected to meet officials of a primary school today after expressing deep concern regarding a viral video of some of their students. The youngsters were in a classroom engaging in what the ministry has termed grossly inappropriate behavior. The incident appears to have happened on their final day at the school. A statement from the ministry said when contacted, the school's principal indicated she plans to meet with the parents of the students involved on Tuesday. However, the Chief Education Officer, Dr. Ramona Archer Bradshaw, will meet with the principal, senior teachers, and the teachers of the students today to obtain a report on the circumstances that led to that occurrence. The education chief says while the images are disturbing, Barbadians should not embark on a campaign of shaming minors.
As we go into the summer vacation period, we are appealing to parents and other adults involved in the lives of children to not only increase the vigilance in our children's activities, but also increase their engagement with them. As parents, we need to continue open and honest discussions with our children about good decision making and setting standards of excellence for themselves. We also need to help them set the necessary boundaries to protect themselves. Peer pressure is certainly not new, but in a digital world where there exists the illusion of reward for the most extreme exhibitions of behavior, our efforts to help our children to become more resilient must be significantly increased.
Thousands of Barbadians enjoy the sweet sounds of steel pan at the Republic Bank Pandemonium at the National Botanical Gardens yesterday. The highly anticipated family-oriented event is one of the largest for the season. Our Sharika Griffith has more.
The grounds of the National Botanical Gardens is where thousands are gathered for Pandemonium, soaking up the rhythm of steel pan and indulging in the culinary flavors of the island. With umbrellas, food and drinks in hand, this is where families and friends are making memories. Cultural Officer for Music Education at the National Cultural Foundation, Kevin Moore, says the show was carefully planned to satisfy the taste buds of all.
The event has grown, the design for this year, the outlay has changed, so it's pretty interesting to see how the public reacts to it. But we have a very good show on plan for the public this year.
Manager of Marketing and Corporate Communications for Republic Bank, Misha Knight, says she's pleased with the turnout for the event, which attracted 30,000 people last year. She says the bank is looking forward to sponsoring the event again in 2025.
This is a fun family event. It's open to persons of all ages, so you can bring out the kids, you can bring out the adults. So Republic Bank, as a bank and a family bank, we are happy to support this particular event on the Cropover calendar.
Aidan Taylor, well known as Mr. Barbados, is among those enjoying the sweet sounds and festivities. Mr. Taylor, who's been following Cropover since the 1970s, says pandemonium is the right remedy for stress.
This is an every year thing for me, and this year is like life to the human person. It's relaxing, cut down the stress. You know, you enjoy meeting people and promoting your country to those who are from abroad. You know, this is like being an ambassador at home. So I really love it.
The Republic Bank Panyard Lime held at the University of the West Indies, Cayfield campus last Friday was also well attended.
A time was had by all. Now, relatives and friends of missing man Anthony Coward spent yesterday afternoon searching for him. The former school teacher, who has 2 children and 3 grands, was last seen on Friday, the 5th of July, at a bus stop close to his Erie Hill St. Joseph home. His ex-wife, Shirlene Coward, is appealing to members of the public to help the family find the 71-year-old, whom she says is showing signs of dementia. She made the appeal just before a small search party started combing the Chimborazo St. Joseph area.
He was missing from Friday morning, as I said, when he left home, and we haven't heard or seen him since. My daughter called me on Saturday morning and asked me if I saw him. And I told her, no, I haven't seen him. So I asked her if she wanted me to call him. And when I called his phone, this gentleman answered and said that he found his phone, and we asked the gentleman to bring the phone and asked him where he was, where Anthony was, and he said he didn't know. So because of the fact that he lost his phone and somebody else had it that was answering the phone, we decided no, something was wrong.
Now, Ms. Coward says the retired educator usually only leaves his residence when necessary.
His last place of teaching was at George Lamin. He left there and he was at home, you know. And basically being home, going out when he has to and coming back in, and that's it. But this time was different. This time brought a different feeling altogether.
Barbados has called attention to the irreparable damage caused by Hurricane Beryl before the Organization of American States. The country's interim representative to the OAS, Christabel Reese, told a special meeting of the Permanent Council Barbados is deeply dismayed by the level of damage caused.
Beryl has shown the horrifying reality for us, having almost decimated my country's fishing industry, as well as handicapping the so-called Platinum Coast. Our tourism industry is heavily reliant on beaches and infrastructures that have now been eroded and no longer bear resemblance to what they previously looked like. It is a travesty of climate justice that those who are the least responsible for the causes of the crisis are those who are hardest hit, the most vulnerable people from the most vulnerable countries.
Ms. Reese says countries now have to direct resources which were earmarked for development to recovery and rebuilding efforts.
These latest events make us wonder, what are we really doing when we are looking at the climate crisis within this season of superlatives? Indeed, Prime Minister Mia Mottley's rallying cry for climate justice, access to climate finance, ramping up of investments in adaptation and loss and damage has been viscerally felt. The Bridgestone Initiative, the Paris Pact for People and Planet, the SDG stimulus, along with other initiatives, provide us with a roadmap on how the international community can support action needed to drive mitigation adaptation, and resilience.
In sports, the bowlers dominated on the opening day of the CWI's second series of the two-day Rising Stars Championship match between Barbados Under-19s and Leeward Islands Under-19s in St. Vincent. Sent into bat at the Arnesville playing field yesterday, Leeward were bowled out for just 90 in 42.4 overs. Leg spinner Zishan Motara on his 18th birthday was impressive, taking a hat trick to finish with 3 for 20, while Nathan Seeley also picked up with 3 for 20 and Jotario Prescott 3 for 23. Barbados Under-19s in response crumbled to 81 all out in 25.1 overs. Michael McKenzie grabbed 6 for 20 and Michael Palmer 4 for 38. Batting a second time, the Leewards will resume this morning on 17 for 2. That's an overall lead of 26 runs with 8 wickets remaining. And that is our update of news this morning. Remember, we have a full cast of news at 12 noon for Newsday. You can also listen in to our radio services, 100.7 FM, 98.1 The One, and 94.7 FM for our updated package at 1 p.m. Morning Barbados continues after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
From 98.1 to CBC TV8 comes the Soca Avenue, the sweetest soca hour in radio. It's artists with new tunes and some old sweet ones too, jamming on the Soca Avenue. Saturdays, join AON Skills and the crew down on Soca Avenue, all new on CBC TV8. Feeling the festival.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
My friend, you don't plan to get it? Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it, Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays right here and only here on 94.7.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
Welcome to the Cropover Sweet Spot, your go-to show for all things Cropover 2024. We'll dive into the big issues of the day with exclusive interviews with the entertainers, the experts, the movers and shakers of the festival, plus you, the audience. Get to join the conversation and share your views. Tune in to CBC TV8 every Friday night for the ultimate Cropover experience with yours truly, the Admiral. We're big on everything Cropover 2024. The Cropover Sweet Spot, brought to you with the kind compliments of Axel Finance.
Tune in every Friday at 6 p.m. to see me, Chrissy D, on Fashion Flair on CBC TV8. I'll be bringing you the latest fashion trends, fashion ends, and everything in between. Get ready to transform your style, get inspired, and elevate your fashion game with the ultimate guide to looking fabulous. Join me, Chrissy D, this Friday on CBC TV8 at 6 p.m. for an exciting episode of Fashion Flair.
The ultimate cricket showdown is coming to ESPN, and MCTV has got you covered. The ICC Cricket World Cup 2024 is here on ESPN and MCTV. Tune into MCTV channels 302 and 308 and don't miss a single 6, wicket or heart-pounding moment as top teams vie for the 2024 T20 World Cup. From June 1st to 29th, it's cricket you can't afford to miss. Tune into ESPN on MCTV, and for live radio coverage, tune into 94.7. Catch every moment of the ICC Cricket World Cup T20 action.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love crew.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
You know why?
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news.
Good morning. Good morning to you.
Welcome back. 7:21 in Barbados and across the Eastern Caribbean. You're tuned to Morning Barbados. All right, so I'm off my feet. You know, something exciting must be happening. I have to welcome Dennis Sobers to the Morning Barbados. Well, not the stage, but here to Morning Barbados, and a pretty interesting way that you view yourself, because I asked you whether you wanted me to call you an artist, and you said no, you consider yourself an inventor, but we're here looking at all of your work. So tell me a little bit about how you classify your work.
Well, I can classify it as an experiment as to what is found in Barbados. My focus has always been to try to do something that we have. I remember the days gone by when it was the Prime Minister said we didn't have any natural resources. And I said, no, that's not true. So I started looking around and I saw there were stones. And these stones were so beautiful. And so I started drawing on the stones and giving these small pebbles basically to customers or to individuals to take back. So they literally took back a piece of the rock. And so I realized that there is potential in what we have in Barbados. So that is really where I have been using my time to use what we have in Barbados to let people know that we have resources that have great potential.
At what point in time did you recognize your own potential in terms of being able to draw on these stones, as you've put it?
Well, back in those days, it was A.S. Brydon's were shutting down their art department, and they had all these pens and things in which I realized that they had potential because it was the ink that was in it that had the ability to touch the stones. Once the ink touched the stones, it was never coming off. So it was about experimenting and finding. And then in order to design and to create imagery, it was the use of a scalpel. And that's where the word lapis scalpel came from, which is the Latin form for lapis, which means stone, and scalpel, which means to scratch. So everything you see when it comes to the art on stones is just a scratch in the right form, the right direction, the right shape to give the illusion of 3 dimension on a stone.
All right, well, let me put my papers down because I want to touch.
Yes.
So you started using different mediums to be able to put your works on or share. I mean, like, this is what people would deem a traditional cuckoo stick.
Yes.
Not as big as I like my cuckoo sticks, but...
Yes.
Yeah.
That is actually 2024 new project, in which is a transfer, a complete transfer now onto wood. So when it comes to what we have in Barbados, mahogany, the words can actually be transferred directly. That was one I did for a customer where it was for the Division of Culture, where they're now able to use natural cuckoo sticks and to have it, the word as well as the recipe onto the stone as well, onto the wood as well.
I absolutely love that. Of course, the trident is on here as well. Very, very interesting stuff. And then, you know, you're transferring portraits onto other pieces of wood.
Correct.
Yes?
And that one was also, again, 2024, the ability to use what we have. Mind you, this is not Barbados wood. This is imported wood from one of the craft stores. But then to be able to see that transfer put on there permanently is one of the beautiful parts about having something we have. We don't have to import things if we can make them here on ourselves.
Is this a print, or
that
are you still using your pen to draw some of these pieces?
The pens are the stones as well as the concrete. The wood is actually a pure transfer, which is something very unusual because I'm using natural material that found in Barbados to make the art. On the other side of that is that's my granddaughter, and the other side is actually my daughter to show how it would actually work. So it has great potential.
Your daughter?
Yes.
And your granddaughter. Beautiful. Would make a beautiful gift.
Yes.
Love it. And great memento as well. Now, you're using all different types of materials because here we have some clay.
That's one I got from Hamilton Pottery, just to see if it was going to work. Last night I did that. Just last night for the show. And I wanted to see pure Barbados clay, also using the transfer method to put onto that. And this will never come off. It's permanently etched onto the stone because of everything you see here have natural porosity, meaning the ink sucks into it. And so in that situation, that's never going to come off as well.
Well, you truly are exploring ways that you can, put images and words and so on materials, because I believe this is a piece of leather.
Black belly sheep leather. And the mere fact that was actually started it. That actually started the concept of the transference. When I was able to do that, I realized that if now we have the ability to make keychains and leather, whatever products we have, we can actually transfer now images onto black belly sheep leather. So that's another great concept that we can use in Barbados to start teaching and showing persons what we can use when it comes to crafts in Barbados export-wise.
All right, I want you to share more about the stones with us. Is this a special type of stone? It looks very, very shiny. It's not, a traditional rock stone as we would find in Barbados.
Yes. These stones are, when I thought it was not limestone, it is not coral stone. These are sedimentary rock. And because of the sedimentary nature of the stones, these are basically compiles of dirt that actually is compressed, throws it into the ocean, and then smooth over many years. For example, this particular one is one full rock. This is how it's found. And then in order just a little bit of smoothing on it, then I actually draw. This is actually not the transfer. This is actually drawn on using the ink onto the stone. So this one over here, the first one, that's one of the most rarest ones ever because you see how thin it was, one full stone, and the ability to have that image scratch on there, is what makes those so special. And so of course with the scalpel is what gives you the illusion of what looks like here is just a scalpel scratching it in the right location, the right direction. And the image will never come off no matter what water you put on there, no rain, no sun, nothing can hurt the art. It will always be on there permanently, which gives it opportunity for persons who have headstones or mementos, or when it comes to marriage is supposed to be strong as a rock. So when you have a husband and wife on one, it gets them to see that this is permanent. It's supposed to be permanent.
And this is cement that's closest to you.
Yes.
So how is it different working with the different mediums? So we talked about wood, we talked about leather, we talked about stones, and now cement. Talk about the differences in working with the various materials.
The cement is actually easier because during 2020 when COVID came down, I wasn't able to go on the beach to find the stones that I'm looking for, so I had to find a way. So the science behind the stone, or the concrete, is that this is not just normal concrete, not Bajan concrete or cement. This is actually a hydraulic concrete that enables me now to do the same art on stones, but now in a bigger form.
By etching and then applying ink.
The ink goes on first and then it scratches off. For example, in this case, everybody loves this one. Everybody sees it. And the ink goes on first, and then using the scalpel to scratch it off. The beautiful part about the art is that with paper, you mess up, you have to start again. With canvas, you mess up, you got to start again. But with stone, it's not a problem because if I mess up, I just scratch it off and start back again. Wow. Or just fill it back in again. So this is the beauty of the art on concrete. Again, it will last forever and it's not going anywhere.
Now, what type of paint or color are you using to make this beautiful art?
I don't use color. I don't use color on the stones because I have not yet found a pigment or ink that would actually embed itself to that. So I tend to use the natural colors of the stone itself. For example, if you notice this one over here, these are the minerals that are inside this are natural minerals that you can see. But to have someone's face on there, it's going to be very difficult. So you can see how the color changes.
Okay, let me take it up. Now it looks like a stone. Now you've wet it.
Correct. So,
so where did you harvest these stones from? You talked about some on the beach, but this looks like something I would find maybe in the east of the island.
you would think so, but it's not. The east of the island have more clay in it, and so those clay the clay on the east coast is not as dense as it is with these. These are stones that have been compounded against each other and rubbed against each other for hundreds of thousands of years. So I have to climb down a cliff to get the actual stones.
Okay.
Once I find those stones, I've got to climb back up, and then I slice them so I can now reduce the weight of the stone to give a customer now a lot lighter gift that they can take back to wherever it is.
All right, now talking about using different materials, now we have some interesting pieces here, and I'm going to turn on the lights for these ones. Coral.
Actually, they're not. Everybody thinks
like
that they're coral.
What is it?
But sea fans and sea whips, they actually grow.
Sea fans and sea whips.
There's sea fans, sea whips, and sea rods. Those are the three areas we have here in Barbados. They're not coral, but they actually grow on the coral. So when we have bad weather or bad waves, like we had last week, a lot of it was ripped off of the actual reef and thrown onto the sand. When it throws up on the sand, what happens is it's gnarled together, and the sand compounds on top of it and twists it and shapes. You don't ever see anything like this. So the concept with the sea whips and the sea rods is to be able to find a way to actually rehydrate it and put it back into the shape in which I want to put the shape into. So everything you see here, they're never found like this. My focus is to then change it and to put it back by means of that new process of using it. Now the images of the, not images, but the lights, it just gives you a little bit more of, makes it look good for persons. But my focus was to use these for a lot of restaurants where you have your little centerpieces, where you now have natural ocean art. But now the flowers are really petrea seeds. And many people don't realize it, that the petrea seeds are super strong. And those are land-based products. So the sea whips, if you can see here with the edges, it fits perfectly on them. So now you have what looks like a natural bouquet of flowers that it will last forever and last long. And it's super, super light.
And you use some paint on these. It looks like acrylic. It's a little shiny.
Yes.
Yes?
This is more of a metallic paint, locally made. And not locally made, but locally bought and sourced. But that really gives it a nice look for whatever color an individual may want those pieces to be in.
Is there any material that you prefer to work with more than the other? Because it seems to me like you're going to continue exploring to see how else, which is why, you deem yourself
an experimenter.
And not necessarily simply an artist. So are there any materials that you prefer to work with more than others?
I love stone. I love the stone. Every stone is different. Every stone has a history behind it. I believe that God is the one who makes all of this. I just happen to be a brush in his hand, and he's the real artist. My focus is that my issue is just to use what is that he made. So I know he's looking for me now to say, so what happened is that when your friends told me that they invited me to the show, I said, well, let me see if I can get one done for you.
Oh my goodness, no way.
So, does it look like you?
Oh my goodness. This is crazy.
So
wow.
that's half of a stone. And the other half will be able to put something else on it. So,
wow.
Are you sad? Are you happy? Is it something that makes sense? Does it look good?
This is really overwhelming. Listen, you guys are always tricking me, boy. Look at this. You want me to put it close to my face, Peter? You want to try to match? Oh my goodness. Look at that. Like if I'm talking to the phone, he's giving me instructions. But wow. Thank you so much.
You are welcome, ma'am.
I am at a loss for words.
Yes. And
that's not a usual thing.
You're welcome.
Amazing.
It was a pleasure actually working on that. I took time away from my wife. I have to apologize to her to make sure it's done, especially for this show when I was called last week Thursday. So
wow.
Normally it doesn't take that. It takes a little bit longer to do that, but I figured that if I was going to come on, let me show what can be possible, and also to show the audience eventually what is also possible. But I'm only one person, and so all of this is too much for one person, but eventually we'll get it done.
This is amazing stuff. This is something that I will not soon forget.
Very good.
You know, this is just wonderful stuff. Look at that. A portrait of me on a rock.
Now you own a piece of the rock. The most expensive real estate in Barbados.
Literally. I love it. You know, I really love that you are using different mediums. Usually where we see art and they're showing you working on it. So you...
Oh, yes.
Now I know exactly what picture they sent. That's the picture from my profile on WhatsApp that they sent to you. And this is just an amazing process. I love it. I love that you're using, you know, different mediums to be able to create art in this way.
Yes.
Yeah?
And that's just
truly
why
is unique.
Young person or I don't like talking about young people because in many cases they given opportunities but they may not take it. But old persons also can do the same concept. I'm an old man now. But this is something that everybody should be able to use what we have to both decorate and also to own something of value that we don't think is value. This stuff falls in, nobody cares about this. NCC takes this after it washes up on the beach, puts it together and burns it. This is something that will never lose its value after we put additional value to it. And the same thing with the art and stones, the leather, everything is about using what we have and making something out of it.
This is truly some amazing stuff. And even looking at it now, some Barbadian landscapes, and it's a heavy rock.
Yes.
This is the Parliament building on here. This is some beautiful art. I think that people are just going to start commissioning work from you in a even greater way. Is that Rihanna?
That is actually, it's actually on the piece.
On the concrete.
I tried to play around with it. Then you have also the, what's his name now? Black Panther judge?
Yes, the guy from Black Panther as well.
Everybody likes
Chadwick
those.
Boseman,
Chadwick, that's it. But I wanted persons to be able to see, by means of showing famous persons, the ability to, that if you can see a famous person, that you would also be able to get your face eventually done onto wood or concrete. I said concrete. Or actually stone, not wood.
How long have you been just creating?
I would say for the last 30 years or so. But more so 20 years when it comes to using natural products of Barbados. Because it was a challenge when I heard the minister at the time say that we don't have any natural resources. No, that's a self-challenge. I pushed against. I said, we have things in Barbados. We don't need to keep buying things. And I'm in shipping. I've been in shipping for the last 36 years. So I'm used to bringing things in. So my focus is to use what we got in Barbados.
All right, good stuff, Dennis. I want to thank you for coming in and sharing with us, and of course, showcasing what you use to be able to create, you know, these beautiful pieces as well. It's just amazing work.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in, and thanks for my gift. I'm overwhelmed, people. Very, very nice. I love it. All right, it's time for a break. Make sure you look into how you can get a piece of this in your office space, in your home, as a memento for a good friend or relative. Outside of the traditional art that we have hanging on the walls, it's great to be able to display art in a different way and from Barbadian hands as well.
And Barbados products, 100% Beijing. This is not made in Barbados, this is made of Barbados. That's the mantra I like to say.
I love that. Made of Barbados. Make sure you check them out. All right, it's time for another break here on Morning Barbados. Just about 22 minutes to go in today's show. So stick around. I'll be here chilling out with my rock.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affair segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb, and together we will travel the world.
From 98.1 to CBC TV8 comes the Soca Avenue, the sweetest soca hour in radio. It's artists with new tunes and some old sweet ones too, jamming on the Soca Avenue. Saturdays, join AON Skills and the crew down on Soca Avenue, all new on CBC TV8. Feeling the festival.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
My friend, you don't plan to get it? Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, so good stuff coming off of what we just saw. Thoroughly enjoy that. Beautiful. He said it's not a piece of Barbados, it's made of Barbados. Absolutely love that. So it's time for us to reach out to a Bajan afar and say welcome home to Thaddeus Seeley, who's a bartender and chef, a Barbadian living in Antigua, who joins us now from online to share more about his work. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Welcome. I'm doing well. How are you?
Tired. Extremely tired, but I'm doing great.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about your career. And when we reach out to Barbadians across the miles, Barbadians who are all across the world, we like to hear a little bit about how they transitioned from Barbados to where they are.
First thing first, I'm the most confused chef and bartender in Barbados, or in Antigua right now. This has been a very long culinary journey, I must say this. Forgive me. What's happened is, I think this is the latter stages of my career. Taking a job in another country, it is something that I've been thinking about for a very long time, traveling across the world. Actually lived in Canada for a couple of years, Muskoka and Edmonton.
Yeah, so just about everything. So how did you get into bartending, and then how did you become a chef? Tell me about what initially piqued your interest.
I did 2 years at hospitality. I initially started in the bar, and I always had a love for cooking. But how I explain it to people is that what I see in the kitchen is usually the fresh product, and what I see in the bar is the liquid version of what I see in the kitchen. So it became a slight easy transition to be a little bit ultra creative, because there's a symbiotic relationship between both of them.
All right, good stuff. And how did you transition then into the hospitality industry? Was it easy after you did the initial study?
Quite easy, actually. I left hospitality, worked at Almond Beach, then moved from Almond Beach as a bartender and to Coral Reef as a chef, where I spent about 10 to 13 years, and moved to Canada, as I said, back to Barbados, where I became a private chef for 5 years, opened my own business, my own smoked meat business, dining company, Then I transitioned back to bartending because I was assistant tutor at bartending and academy. Yeah, I was all over the place. I was definitely all over the place, but it was
And
fun.
how are things different in terms of kind of prepping your menus, preparing your drinks and foods now in Antigua? I know their cuisine is a little different from ours.
All I can say, I moved to a country where you get corned beef for breakfast, and anyone that knows me, corned beef is the greatest culinary thing that was ever created, greatest thing ever. Similarities, we do share a few dishes or one dish. Fungi, cornmeal okras. What does that sound like?
I know, well, you're not introducing it to me because my brother-in-law, who will be here tomorrow, is Antiguan.
Yeah. Similarities, culture. I'm what I must say. Antiguans do love food. They truly. There's no waiting game. There's no time. 2 o'clock in a restaurant. 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Antiguans really take their food extremely seriously.
Have you been able to kind of shape some traditional Barbadian delicacies or dishes to be able to share with the people in Antigua who are coming out to experience your dishes?
Eventually, I'm actually paying a little bit more homage to Caribbean cuisine and Antiguan cuisine with the menu, going back to even utilizing things like their chop up, their fungi, there's a smoked herring. Eventually, on the menu, I've been asked to put our traditional, not our menu in a restaurant. A restaurant? No. We've been asked to put our traditional, put in a sauce for the Bajans that are here and the Antiguans. And in the upcoming weeks, somehow there's going to be flying fish on the menu. So I'm going to sneak a little bit of home here. Plus, it's quite funny to know that the company I work with, Brighton's Antigua, is also the home for Mount Gay Rum.
Good stuff. What do you do in your downtime, Thaddeus, after dealing with food and drinks and so on all day long? Are you at home cooking in the evening too? You know, what are you doing in your downtime?
There's no way I'm cooking home. What I said, what I love about Antigua, you can travel anywhere, get something to eat at any time of the day. It's sleeping, it's training, probably crafting some new ideas for the menu. The brain never sleeps. Even like this week, this is what, 5-finger season in Antigua, so we're looking to do some 5-finger cocktails, Guinness or Aki as we know. We're looking to make something like that as well too. So we're constantly evolving. I'm constantly evolving and always on the go. Well, that's how it goes.
All right, that sounds like beautiful stuff. Moving from Barbados to Canada, I can see where there can be stark differences. I know as we move across the Caribbean, we have a lot of similarities, but we have some interesting differences as well. What was the transition like for you?
It was quite easy. I used to actually come here and train bartenders via with my business partner Jamal, one of Top Shelf Bartending Academy. So for a couple of summers, 2 weeks, we come do the training, and then slowly but surely I fell in love with the country. And it's funny, last night I was here, was a Friday night. I said I would love to move here. 3 months later, here I am. It's eerily similar, smaller, but the culture is very laid back. But there's something I just love about it. It's Antigua reminds me of home, and home reminds me of Antigua. I think that's the best way for me to explain it.
Absolutely. I can agree with you on that, especially when it comes to the beaches. They do indeed look pretty similar.
Yeah, actually what I was doing here, I was asking random people, what's your favorite beach? And then when I take a little downtime, I just travel, because they said, 365 beaches. You can visit different beach every day in Antigua. And I've probably done about 30 or 40 thus far. So many more to go.
Now, when it comes to your career, you've been a part of a winning culinary team for Barbados from as far back as 2010 or so. Talk to me about your journey, in the era of culinary arts and.
Sorry, say that again, please.
Talk to me about your journey as a part of winning teams for Barbados, traveling and sharing more about our culinary delights?
Oh yeah, I was actually part of the culinary team. I can't remember which year that was. I honestly could not remember that. I actually didn't take part in it, but I was part of the team. That was when I went. I think we went to Puerto Rico. Jeez, that's a long time ago. Yeah, that was part of the culinary team. I was actually thinking the hybrid, the only person that was the chef slash mixologist, because I did both of them. We won gold in Puerto Rico that year, and that's a very long time. I can't remember, to be honest. That's, put me on the spot with that question. You truly did. Yeah.
So is there a preference for you? Do you prefer bartending, mixology, or cooking?
There is no preference. In the earlier times, there was a moment, when I was bored at the bar, I used to go to the kitchen when I was in the kitchen, and vice versa. Funny stories when I was in actually Coral Reef. During service, I would stop and actually mix drinks for the guys, and they would give me their opinion, or they would just randomly pick ingredients and say, make a cocktail or make a drink out of this. Non-alcoholic, of course, sometimes, but it became, I think after a while, it then became a little bit easier. And as time progressed, and even when I got to the villa life, it was fun to explore both worlds and highlight my culture, Barbados, to my visiting clients. And then by extension, I got the idea to create my pop-up dining experience in Barbados. That was in the City series. A fantastic idea between myself and Jamal and the rest of the team, where 3 courses, 3 cocktails, no one knew the menu. We had a theme, pick the cocktails, pick the dishes, have fun with it.
Wow, sounds interesting. And I'm intrigued as to what your preference is. Working in the hotel space, working as a private chef, or working as an entrepreneur?
All of them have shaped me, I'll be honest with you. All of them. This may sound very strange. The only thing that I wish I got to do was actually work in the fast food industry, but I've worked the hotel, as I said, private homes, villas, now corporate, even a stadium, ice hockey stadium. That was it. The corporate structure is very interesting. I honestly can't say which one is my favorite. They've taught me a lot. Each single one gave me a little bit more information to add to that portfolio of Thaddeus Seeley's life.
All right. What are some of the most exciting things that you've prepared through the year? What do you love to cook more than anything else? What would be your signature dish? If I said, make me your signature dish, what would it be? Or would you be able to narrow it down?
Let me go with the drinks first. I would have to say it's a dish called Across Bim. This was a blend of ESFL white rum, grapefruit juice. Why? First grapefruit was grafted in Welshman Hall Gully in Barbados. Bay leaf. Your grandmother and everybody loves grapefruit. Bay leaf. And then we had passion fruit, because everyone had a passion fruit vines. And that was one of my favorites. I think right now, my favorite dessert would have to be called the sweet banana mess, which I've actually put on the menu here. It's a play on the Eton mess, which is a classic British dish of heavy cream, strawberries, and meringue. But what I've done this toss is actually used sweetbread, traditional sweetbread, coconut whipped creams, coconut flakes, and raisins. And that is probably one of my favorite. Smoked mahi-mahi, probably my sausages, peppered falernum bacon. Yes, I used to actually make bacon in Barbados. There's so many things I can't pinpoint right now. I honestly cannot pinpoint.
I asked you for one, and you listed like 10, so I understand your love.
This dish.
Your love for it.
That one.
You know, is there anything that
Yeah.
you miss from home? I know that we made some comparisons between Barbados and Antigua, but, you know, are there things that you miss about Barbados from time to time?
I think I can safely say this: rum. As a big ambassador for rum, I miss my local rum, but I still have Mount Gay here. Um, mm, Besides my daughter, my family, yes, I would have to say honestly, it's my rum. It's the rum. It's the rum.
Yeah.
Anyone knows me, it's the rum.
Well, my favorite spot in Antigua at night is heading down to Admiral's Bay area and, you know, enjoying just some fun. Drinks. You know, it presents an atmosphere almost like Oystins.
Yes, it does. I mean, the more I started to travel around Antigua, I started to see more things. I was like, this is eerily reminds me of home. I think is more people should come and visit Antigua. This is not me doing work for the tourism authority, but it's a fantastic country.
Yeah, but the difference to me, initially, my first trip to Antigua, I found it interesting how the water is so close to the edge of the road, but is not necessarily sand leading into the water. So that was a little jarring for me. That's all.
I don't know if I should say this, but I think I should. What made me fall in love with Antigua? Antigua Sea is, I explain it very simply. These are the lines to park a car. Antigua see that space, and it can go in any angle. It is something remarkable to watch. It's a very laid back atmosphere, and every time I explain and show people the pictures, they go like, "Yeah, I think I understand why you like it." But plus the cultural ribbons of, since I'm the only Barbadian here, it is quite interesting to hear my co-workers try to imitate Barbadian lingo to the point that I've actually found the dictionaries and found the little online words, and I can't show you how my office looks right now with certain words, but they're learning, and then I'm learning as well too.
All right, I think it's the only accent that you can't mimic. Thaddeus Seeley, bartender, chef, Bajan, living in Antigua. I want to thank you so much for sharing with us, and we look forward to tasting that hand, whether we come to Antigua or you come to Barbados. Yeah, and a few drinks as well.
I definitely be back.
Great to have you on.
For sure. Thank you very much.
All right, good stuff. Reaching out to Barbadians all over the world, here in the Caribbean. Of course, first, Thaddeus, he was a part of the winning Barbados team, successful Barbados culinary team back in 2010. And ever since then, you know, he has been really a part of showcasing the cuisine and drinks of the island. All right, so what happened over the weekend? On Friday, of course, there was the Republic Bank Pan Yard Line on Friday at the UE tent. There were performances from a number of schools. So a big salute to all of the schools who participated. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to bring you some social media highlights and wrap up today's show.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
My friend, you don't plan to get it? Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it, Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays right here and only here on 94.7.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
Welcome to the
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
That's it for today's show. Caribbean Children's Shield Soccer Classic. That's what we're talking about tomorrow after conversations on CARICOM with Ambassador David Comington and a whole lot more here on Morning Barbados. So have a grand day today, a great week ahead, and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.